DraftKings and FanDuel set 2023 Week 1 salaries approximately a month before the season. Not surprisingly, subsequent events have created a bunch of great values. We'll reveal our top 10 Week 1 main slate values for NFL DFS coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee with the Fantasy Football Consultants, and we're going to get right to it. The first two players in our top 10 values for the main slate for Week 1 are quarterbacks. So I just want to look. We're on DraftKings, and if you look at the first three quarterbacks, Jackson, Hurts, Fields. If we look at FanDuel, Hurts, Jackson, Fields. Those three are the same three, different order, in both FanDuel and DraftKings. And I got a quiz question for you guys. What do those three quarterbacks all have in common? Hurts, Jackson, and Fields. Well, run it through your head. What is the thing that's in common? Don't let me rush you guys. Yeah, you got it. Okay, it's they all have a big rushing element to the game. Now, this is a video all about values, so obviously none of these three are values. So let's talk about what quarterbacks have that rushing element to their game that could be a lot cheaper. And there we go. Sam Howell and Anthony Richardson. Now, Sam Howell is the play on DraftKings given his price, and Anthony Richardson is better priced on FanDuel. But let's talk about them real quick. Sam Howell is at home. He is hosting the Arizona Cardinals. They are big home favorites, 7 points, and the Cardinals defense, as well as their team, is just really poor. Now, I have to warn you, it looks like Terry McLaurin probably won't play. That is a key weapon for Sam Howell. But we love the fact that in college he ran so much. He only had one game so far in the pros. This is his second NFL game. But in that one game, he ran 5 times for 35 yards and a touchdown. So that helps his floor on DraftKings. Now, if you're in FanDuel, Anthony Richardson is an intriguing pick at only 6,700. He is also at home, faces a better team in Jacksonville, but I think Jacksonville is going to score a bunch of points with that great offense. It's going to force the Colts into passing situations. By the way, the same Colt team that doesn't have Jonathan Taylor in Week 1 for sure, likely will not have Zach Moss. So they're down to their third string running back. So I think they're going to have to rely on Anthony Richardson. And I think you guys know this guy is so athletic. He is going to take off. He is going to run. I think he can run around the goal line. So something to consider at $6,700 on FanDuel. Speaking of the Colts, our third top value in our top 10 list is Deion Jackson. So I've just finished telling you that Jonathan Taylor's out, and it looks like Zach Moss and his wrist will likely miss Week 1. This is something you need to track. Far less excited about Deion Jackson if Zach Moss turns out that he is active. But it looks like he's not, and Deion Jackson should start. Now, it doesn't look like he's going to get 100% of the carries. They do have rookie Evan Hall. He was picked in the 5th round. That will probably get some carries and some attention in the offense, but it looks like the lead role should be Deion Jackson as long as Moss is out. Really cheap on DraftKings at $4,100. All right, let's move on. We've got a whole slew of wide receivers to talk about, most of them becoming great bargains due to late injuries after the salaries were set. So let's start with the LA Rams and Tutu Atwell. It appears that Cooper Kupp will not play in Week 1. It's not 100%. Obviously, it's something that you should watch. With Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell is the number 3 wide receiver, as you see on their depth chart. Remember, he was a 2nd-round pick last year, and there's not a whole lot of competition on this Ram team. Now, they do have a 5th-round rookie in Puka Nacua, who I think that will get some looks, especially if Cooper Kupp is out. But I feel pretty good about Tutu Atwell being the wide receiver number 2 here if Cooper Kupp's out. He draws the one of these high-scoring games against Seattle. And game script, I think they're going to be having to throw a decent amount to keep up with Seattle. So if Cooper Kupp's out, I like Atwell at a ridiculously bargain price of $3,000 on DraftKings. A little more expensive on FanDuel at $5,000. Another $3,000 is Marvin Mims Jr. He is on the Denver Broncos. And if you can catch passes, you're hurt in Denver. Okay, first, Tim Patrick's out for the year. KJ Hamler is absolutely out for week 1. And now it looks like Jerry Jeudy and his hamstring is out. So that means Marvin Mims comes a starter alongside Cortland Sutton in week 1. And at just $3,000, and by the way, playing at home against a Las Vegas Raider defense that is not good. And if you buy in on Sean Payton turning around this offense and Russell Wilson, looks like a great play at $3,000. A little more expensive on FanDuel, but still very economical at $4,700. FanDuel, that's $3,000, is Jaden Reed. He is on the Green Bay Packers. And the key here is he did win a starting job, which made me excited about him for $3,000. But he goes from just being a good play to potentially a great play if Romeo Doubs is out. So you can see in the update that Romeo Doubs is dealing with a hamstring injury. He is missing practice, and that it's not a great sign for his status for week 1. You're just going to have to track this here. So it is fine to have a spot in your lineup for $3,000 on DraftKings. And then you continue to watch the news and you can decide whether it's going to be Tutu Atwell or Marvin Mims or Jaden Reed based on the news. And you can even go crazy if the news is good for 2 of these 3 situations. Put 2 of them in your lineup, and man, you can really load up on stars elsewhere in your lineup. Finally, we get to someone in Elijah Moore that we have on our value list, and it's not due to any injury. You have to decide if you subscribe to the theory that Deshaun Watson getting a full preseason is going to be a ton better than he was last year. And if you do, wow, Elijah Moore is pretty good, looks pretty good at only $3,800 in what should be a shootout game against Cincinnati. He's a starter. He's going to be the number 2 wide receiver behind Amari Cooper. Johan Dotson is $5,000 and $6,100 on FanDuel, stretching the definition of value, but he goes from a solid number 2 wide receiver to the lead wide receiver if Terry McLaurin is out. So you got to watch that. McLaurin is questionable. Remember, they're playing at home. They are playing a terrible Arizona Cardinals team. So at a very reasonable price, you get a number 1 wide receiver, potentially, against a bad defense. Specifically on FanDuel, Marvin Mims is $4,700, but you could spend only $1,200 more on FanDuel at $5,900 to get the clear number 1 wide receiver on Denver, Cortland Sutton. So if you have the money to go up from Marvin Mims to spend that extra $1,200, I think Cortland Sutton is a nice option. Those are 8 of our 10 value plays. The last 2 we really like. Before we get to them, I just want to remind you that we have had an extremely busy 2023 preseason. We made a pact that starting in late July, we were going to do shows every day on this channel up to the start of the NFL season. So if you've missed any of this content, please go to the description of this video. You can see, for example, our shows on NFL Survivor. We did first look shows on DraftKings and FanDuel for week 1. We will be doing a final show for both DraftKings and FanDuel, and we think for Yahoo as well. And I just want to shout out the last thing on this list is that we've invested a lot of time and effort into producing some comedy skit shorts. They haven't caught on in views and likes, but what I'm going to do is put up at the top of the screen a link to the playlist of the first 9 episodes, they're 1 minute each. If you can do us a big favor, if you want to help support what we're trying to do, please check out those shorts. Put in a quick comment in there to the extent you liked it. And of course, click the like button. We'd really appreciate it. If you're looking to support the channel, do us a big favor. If you can get in the habit of liking each of the videos. And if you haven't yet, please hit that red subscriber button. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of cool things with our subscribers. We already are doing an NFL Survivor contest, but we're also going to team with DFSHub to do weekly free entry contests to win real money in NFL DFS. More on that later. But the last thing I'd like you to do is we've done a lot of research in the off season for why we haven't been recommended on YouTube as much as I believe some of our competitors of the same size. And I think one of the reasons is we haven't had as much engagement regularly in our comment section. So we put a little shout out in each of our videos, usually in the comment section. We want to hear from you and give you something to talk about. For example, in this video, we would like you to list your favorite value play, either something that we mentioned or even better, something we didn't mention that you see as a value play. But we don't want you to limit that to just that. We want to hear what your thoughts are. So if you just like the video, just put it in the comment section. Love the video, appreciate the content, or hey, we would like to have content more like this, or suggestions for other contents. Whatever you're thinking, if there's something nutty, stupid joke that I said that you found was funny, put it in the comment section. Really appreciate it. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm and really helps the channel. All right, let's get to the last of our 2 value plays. At tight end, Luke Musgrave. Once again, we return to the Green Bay Packers. Look, the good news with Luke Musgrave is he won the starting job. He is the tight end 1 for Green Bay. Man, he's a big target around the goal line for Jordan Love. 6'6" rookie, good size and catch radius. He's an athletic guy, and it's expected that he's going to play a significant role. Well, I got news for you. That role that he plays is going to be even bigger if Romeo Doubs is out, the wide receiver. So watch that news. Remember, we already talked about this when we talked about Jaden Reed going from wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 2. Right, the last value play that we have is really specific to DraftKings. I just cannot believe there just had to be some problem in the DraftKings algorithm that has Washington, the same Washington team that is at home, that is a 7-point favorite, that has a really good defense, even if Chase Young doesn't play in this in week 1. They still have a very strong defense going up against a terrible Arizona Cardinal team and offense, a team that is not going to face Kyler Murray. He's out. They're not going to face Colt McCoy. They released him. They're not going to face DeAndre Hopkins. They released him. They're not going to. Who are they going to face at quarterback? It's not going to be good. It's either going to be rookie Clayton Tune or a guy with very limited NFL experience that has to learn the playbook that they just signed. So either way, $2,800 is an absurd price and great value for the Washington defense. FanDuel properly has priced them way up. I think they're the 2nd most expensive defense, so far less attractive on FanDuel. All right, so that's the complete list of our top 10 value plays. Obviously, continue to watch the news to make sure to assess how good each of these will turn out to be, and also for new things that happen that might make other players that are not on this video a great option. But if you utilize these value plays, man, you can really load up to a bunch of great stars in your lineup. We'll put on the screen now 2 videos we think that you'll enjoy. And until next time, take care, everybody.